Join us as we hear the stories of purpose-driven individuals who propel nonprofits into the spotlight and make a lasting impact on the world. In this episode, Jennifer Scogin tells us about the inspiration behind starting JAGS Graphic Design and Printing, a one-stop destination for all design and printing needs. I'm your host, Jamila Robinson, and you're watching Elevate Your Impact. Hello, and welcome to the Elevating Your Impact series, where we feature local community leaders and business owners who can help us as nonprofit leaders. I'm Jamila Robinson, your host, and today we are in the Grand Events venue. It's a beautiful event space. So please look them up online. They're on the north side of town off of the Beltway in Imperial Valley, but this should be the next space where you have your events. And today we are here with my friend and colleague, Jennifer Scogin, the owner of JAGS Graphic Design and Print. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Jamila, it's great to be here. And this event, I wouldn't even know that this had an event center. So it's really cool.
It's very open and neat, and you can, there's so many things you could do with this space. So yes,
I'm excited to be here.
Great. So tell us a little bit more about who your business is and what you do first.
So JAGS Graphic Design and Printing, and really people always ask, what is JAGS? And my name is Jennifer, and my son's name is Austin, my husband's name is Greg, and then our last name is Scogin. So I put them all together, and that created JAGS. And really, it's the why of why I started it. Yeah, what drives me, what's my purpose, all of those things that should drive all business owners when you're starting a business, like something that makes you get up in the morning. And if it's looking at your business card or looking at it, something that goes, oh, I'm reminded why I'm under this stress, or I'm reminded why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why am I okay with this irate customer and still having a smile? Like, you have to be reminded of that daily.
Yes.
In order to be a successful business owner. Because if you don't have your why, if you don't have your purpose, then you're gonna project that onto your clients and onto everybody else.
Yes. It's
So
amazing that you made your why your family, because
yes.
who doesn't want to show up for their family in the right way?
That's right. So and that goes into how I started the business. We moved from Dallas to Houston, and I was going to be working with my husband. And you will think that that's a wonderful thing until you actually do it.
Yeah.
And it's not so wonderful because it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that you are together, and there's no break. But that really, like, all people say, you go through hard times, you go through turmoil, and it brings about growth. And that's kind of what happened is realized that we loved each other, we were soulmates, and we wanted to stay together. So in order to do that, I needed to have my own business, and my husband needed to have his own.
Break up professionally.
We needed to break up in our professional life. So during that time, my son was going into kindergarten, and I already had some freelance clients for design, things like that. So I decided to work from home, and that's where JAGS started. I was doing graphic design, and then very, very quickly, I started realizing once I designed something, I couldn't keep my clients. And that's the same as whether it's nonprofit, whether it's a business. How do you keep people coming back to you? How do you keep, for nonprofit, how do you keep the funds rolling? How do you keep the donors? How do you keep whatever it is you need? And that's so important, is the generating leads. So I realized, I was like, okay, well, I can help them with their print part. And that kind of really quickly fell into place. Once that happened, people were just like, oh, it was so easy to just do the graphic, you do the printing. Can you get me some cups? Can you make me a shirt? So in a couple of years, it pretty much spilled over into the promotional product side.
Yes.
And
guys, she really is a one-stop shop. I have learned that through my own nonprofit business. It started with one thing, and then we go, well, can you do this too? And she's like, yes, I can do that. You can do this. It's a one-stop shop. Thank you. Thank you for tailoring your business that way.
And that's really what I saw was the need. There was two things that really were a need, which kind of spills into this nonprofit area.
Yes.
One was that thing where somebody was like, I don't know how to design it. Okay, I got you. I don't want to deal with the printing because I don't know, a plumber and I am trying to go to, xyz.com to get my business cards and it didn't come out right because I don't know anything about printing.
Mhm.
Um, I know all those things, and so I can alleviate that stress. And what I like to tell people, especially like I have a passion for women entrepreneurs
Yes.
that are trying to do all the things, being a mom, being a wife, being a cook, being the housekeeper, being all the things, and they're trying to run their business. I had a passion for that. I had a passion for nonprofits. Both my grandfathers were pastors, and so I grew up from a very small age in that nonprofit care space. And my mom was the administrative of the private school I went to. So always ingrained in me, I would fall asleep under the thing while they were having fundraising meetings. Like I knew the struggles of trying to raise money for nonprofit. So I think it was just kind of like one of those things like deep rooted hearing the struggles
Mhm.
that down in the back of my mind, I started, and my personality is a helper. And how can I meet that need? How can I fix that problem? So, those two things are what drive me. And I love working with not just female business owners, but
Yes.
female business owner, any small business owner, especially when they're at the ground up, because they don't have a marketing person. They don't have a graphic designer on staff. They don't have somebody that has the knowledge to help them put their business in the best light, have all the things that they need to do. They're just and a lot of it is volunteers.
Yes.
Volunteers coming together and they're like, "I'm gonna take over the marketing." And they don't I mean, their heart's in the right place, but they don't have the skill. They don't have the
Right.
background. And so that's really, really my passion. And sure, I could go and like focus on the bigger companies, but my passion is there because that's where the need is. And I can feel because my business has grown in the past 3 years,
Yes.
tripled.
Yeah.
Like, just in the past 3 years, it's tripled, and that was thanks to BNI, which is how you and I met,
Yes.
our
You and
networking,
I colleague.
the networking, and that kinda goes into where my space is finding the leads, finding the relationships, and I think with nonprofit, that's so important, is the building relationships, being authentic.
And I'll tell you from experience that needing this type of product and service, it is a long term relationship
Right.
because I come to you for everything now. I'm not searching anywhere else.
Right.
So that building that, finding that key person and then building that relationship for services is key.
And that's one of the things that, and it's one of our core values is, and what, as a business, like what is the foundation of everything that we do is the relationship,
Yeah.
because I want people to come to me. And I'm a small business owner myself. I'm not going to be just like Walmart. Like, I'm not going to be as cheap as the Walmarts of the printing industry.
Right.
Like, insert whatever company there.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
not going to be the cheapest, but you are going to get my brain. I'm going to be like an extension of your, whether it's your company, your nonprofit. I want, if you look good, and if you succeed, I succeed. So it's in my best interest to really, really dive in and get to know my clients on a personal level, to where they can even call me and say, "Hey, Jen, I got these pencils or whatever, and they are crap." And I'm going to go, "Oh my gosh, that really sucks. Let me fix it for you."
Hmm.
I'm not going to get my feelers hurt. And they know that they can come to me and tell me, and I'm going to do what's right for them because, like I said, they grow, I grow. So, kind of twofold, that's kind of how I started. That's where my passion is. And that's also why I love working with nonprofits, because it's kind of those two things coming together. And I love the nonprofit. I
Well,
also
thank you for loving us. Thank you.
um
I have a question that kind of falls into that. So, as a nonprofit, because you work with nonprofits, you do know that our mindset is to, okay, well, we're going to try and do this our
cheap.
way first and cheap. And then when we give up, we'll ask, somebody with your expertise to say, "Hey, put this logo on a
Mhm.
T-shirt because I can't figure that part out. I don't know what to do there." So, what is your approach when it comes to something like that? Because I'm sure you've seen tons of awful looking logos that. get thrown your way that were made in Microsoft Paint because we were just trying to take the cheap route out and get something done quickly. But now I want to put this on a mug, or I want to put it on a t-shirt. I want to make a banner with it.
And then you find the problems.
Yes. Yes. How
Yes.
do you handle challenging situations like that?
That is one of, as the business owner, that is one of the big challenges, and I understand it. I understand that, you're like, okay, I can do it myself, I can do it cheap, I can do it. But how many times, yes, there's those few times when you do something, whether it's your husband trying to fix the plumbing, or your husband trying to fix whatever.
Yes.
And then what ends up happening?
Bigger
problems in the end, and you end up, in the long run, you may not see it right then,
Mhm.
but in the long run, you're going to end up spending more time, you're going to have more frustration, you're going to spend more money because somebody has to go and fix it.
Right.
And then you have this bigger problem than if you focused your funds in the right place so that you can have a good foundation. And I tell people the foundation is so important. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, I want mugs. And I'm like, okay, what's your vision? What's your mission?
Yeah.
What's your unique selling proposition? What's your, what sets you apart? And they're like,
yeah.
and you can't get to that step 5, 6, where you're asking me for mugs or whatever thing, until we talk about all of this other stuff. And then it takes so much time. And then we find out, okay, give me your logo. And they,
Yeah.
they give me,
Check that.
the something that they did on PowerPoint, or something that's, that their friend's uncle's daughter's friend did on Canva, which Canva is a great tool. Don't get me wrong.
What you're doing.
It's a great tool, but in the graphic design, it makes us scream,
Yes.
because it's those things, you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
And deep down in the layers, when we need to get something done way over here, it's going to cause a problem. And a lot of times, until my clients know me, they think I'm trying to
Nickel and
dime
Mhm.
them, or cause problems. And they're like,
Upsell.
and we can do this ourselves. We're trying to cut cost, and I get that. But once you trust me, that when I tell you I can't put it on a logo. Or I can, but it's going to be all blurry and fuzzy.
It's not going to look
It's
right.
not going to look
Yeah.
good. So I get that, but when it comes to starting your business, when it comes to starting your nonprofit, you want to spend the time and even a little bit of money on doing it right before you get down the line, because it's going to cause problems somewhere down the line. It's going to cause a problem.
Yes.
It's kind of the same as like building a Lego set. Like if you have kids and and they're like, oh, put it, and there's that one little piece and you're like, or build
Right.
it, or building an
It's like
IKEA
the
thing.
cornerstone.
It's like the cornerstone of everything, and then you have to go and pick all the little pieces off.
Yeah. Start over.
You got to start all over.
Yeah.
So that's it is a concern for small businesses and nonprofits. It's a concern, and really, even when I first started out, my company name was JAGS Corner Store, because I was like, I want to be the one-stop shop.
Mhm.
Do you know what happened? I started getting calls wanting to put Coke in my store because they thought I was a convenience store. They wanted
The name. It's in the name.
it was the name.
Yes.
And here I am trying to build
Mhm.
visual identity for my clients, and I did it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
To where I'm like, oh, or when I put my logo on a billboard that I sponsored,
Yeah.
and it says Jags Cornerstone, they're like, I didn't get any feedback. I didn't get any leads because they didn't know that I was graphic design, pringing, and promotional products.
Yeah. Yeah. See?
So
you quickly changed your name.
quickly changed my name. I quickly changed my logo. I quickly changed all the things so that I could do a good job, because I'm trying to sell that
Yeah.
to other people.
Yeah.
But I think that's also what sets me apart, is because I have made the mistakes.
Right.
I have learned from those, and I don't want other people to make the mistake. So I'm going to teach you what I've learned along the way.
Right.
Also, what sets me apart as well is it's kind of a good thing and bad thing. I've never in my entire life had to interview for a job. I've never had to put a resume and go find just a random job, because it's all about networking.
Yes.
When I was
Building relationships.
16, I ran the desk for a hair salon place because my godfather owned a hair salon. So he got me my first job. Well, I learned so much from that. My other job, I taught preschool. I did insurance verification. I was the regional assistant for Victoria's Secret over Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana because a girl that I used to babysit for was going on a maternity leave. So everything that I did, it was because I knew somebody. And I learned so much from all of those different industries that taught me how to market those industries. I've worked in real estate, commercial real estate. So I know what realtors need. I've worked in healthcare. I know what healthcare needs. I've worked in nonprofit. I know what nonprofits need.
I mean, this is a great point though, because a lot of people go through things and they don't really understand why they're going through it.
Right.
But you are put in those situations so that your purpose can become identified. And when you're ready for your purpose, you've got all these resources and
Right.
experiences to rely on to help you do what you need to do.
Right. And when it comes to nonprofit, I was telling our friend the cameraman that I sing and dance in a competitive women's chorus. It's called the Rich Tone Chorus.
They're amazing, guys.
We're the 6-time international gold medal champions all over the world. I travel to Dallas to do it. It's my passion. It's a nonprofit. And I am on the management team over ways and means, fundraising. So I've been there. I've been in the roundtable discussion of like nickel and dime it. How are we going to pay the rent? How are we going to pay for the whatever, this thing and this thing? We have to have this event, but we can't afford it. How can, I've been in those trouble spots. So I can help. Now, do I make money doing it? Yes. Do I, but that's what we all, and if you have somebody that you both are trying to build each other up.
And the exchange is mutual.
Yes.
It's mutual. It's not
That's
just
right.
a monetary thing. That's
That's
what
right.
makes it most valuable.
And I feel like that's really, really what gets down to is finding, even if you're a nonprofit, find those vendors that have the same values as you.
Yes.
One of the things, even during the pandemic, that really like changed for me is the difference between values and beliefs. And, if you and somebody else if you focus on the value, do you care about people? Do you care about building each other up? That's a value. And if you find people with the same value, it doesn't matter if you believe you should pay $5 for the thing and they believe that they should pay $10 for the thing. Focus on the value. We want to help people. And in order to do that, we need to do this event.
Right. Right.
Does it matter if it's $5 or $10 if you're going to do it right? If you focus on the value. And I think especially for nonprofits, you have to surround yourself by those type of people instead of just looking for the cheapest thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference in the
It
end,
does.
like you're saying.
And just like that, like I'm your nonprofit. I care if you grow. I care.
There's a vested interest.
There's a vested interest. I'm gonna know your weak spots and okay, you can't afford this. Let me see how we can get it, into your budget. What can we do to help you move forward that hurdle?
So tell us about a time where you had a project that, was just very successful to you and what made it so meaningful and successful to you?
Oh my goodness. Probably, let me think. I'll use missing pieces.
Yes.
I'll use missing pieces as an example, just because the box is sitting there.
Yes. Yes. Oh, let me show off.
And then
this
was not planned.
No, guys. I did want to show you this because she helped us come up with a solution to a problem that we had with our care package box. So you tell the story, but she got this is our solution thanks to JAGS Graphics.
But so this came about. So my son is 14 and he's in middle school. So and he's in National Honor Society. So
Yeah, he's a great kid.
Sometimes. So he needed service hours. I happen to know a nonprofit, Missing Pieces, and they need people to stuff packages. And I thought, there's middle school that needs service hours. How about you go and we'll do an event to have them stuff
a care package drive.
Yes, the care package drive.
Yeah.
So we did that. my bestie and my project manager, Josh, he was at that event and saw them trying to shove the stuff into a box that did not work.
And that box wasn't able to hold one of our care package offerings. So, backstory, we ordered that online, trying to get something with some branding on it, not really paying attention to the dimensions of
Right.
things, but thinking, oh, we're going to level up and this is how. And then, sure enough, we get it in the mail and not everything fits in it.
Right.
So, we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? But
So,
this is before you even knew
yeah, I
about
didn't know about
yes.
that. So Josh just happens to be there and sees the problem and sends me a text and says, Jen, you got to help Jamila out because this is not
And
going
he
to
said
work.
something to me too.
And that's the difference when you know a person and you can go and say, hey, Jamila, that's not going to work. We need to find a solution. Now, we did find a solution that fit, and the boxes are not cheap.
No,
They're not cheap.
They're not.
And they're not even cheap for me to like get all the resources together. They're not cheap, but they're nice.
Yes.
And
our stuff fits. And
stuff fits.
Without it being all jumbled and crammed up. It just adds value to the experience we're trying to give to the person that's opening it.
And then, and a background story is, because they have a budget, because it's a nonprofit.
Yes.
They were doing small run orders.
Yes.
Well, with all things promotional products printing, it's cheaper if you do it in bulk.
Yes.
This is with everything.
Yes.
It's cheaper. And and I was like, okay, what can we do to help missing pieces, knowing that that's the problem? And so I said, we've got to do a bigger run because you're going to cheap. And then a couple times they ended up having this huge need for the boxes and they ran out of them. It also takes
rush order. Yes, we need a rush order
to do the boxes. If you have to do a rush order, it's going to add
be more expensive
to the cost.
Yes.
So, we Josh and I brainstorm, and I was like, okay, let's put you on a reoccurring order so that at least you don't have to worry about the rush fees.
Yes.
And we can do your small orders in the budget that you have, but at least we know that they're coming. And at least we know that we can get the reorder done, so that we can help you save money in the long run.
Yes.
And so I really, I think that that's just kind of an umbrella story of the kinds of things that we do on our end to help the nonprofits. Is it still an expensive thing? I can't give it to them for free.
Right. But because we have that established relationship, you were intentional about figuring out a solution for me.
Right.
Which you probably do with all of your clients.
I do.
But that's where that relationship element comes into.
Yes.
And I appreciate you being so comprehensive in your offering that you're able to, help people in those ways.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So with all your nonprofit experience within your business and being on a nonprofit board and seeing how nonprofits operate, what would be your biggest piece of advice to a nonprofit leader that's just looking to make a meaningful impact on their community?
I would say a couple things. One is like I said, going back to that foundation of really taking the time to make sure you've got your vision statement, make sure you've got your mission statement, make sure you've got your core values, make sure that you know what your brand personality is. And if any of these words don't make sense to you, call me.
Please call her.
I will help you make sense of those things. Because not only is that going to trickle into your visual identity, it's going to help you in the board meetings.
Yes.
It's going to help you with how you write an email to your clients. It's going to help you when you're doing all of your banners and all of your flyers and all the things. If you as the board or management team or whatever it is that your governing body, if they have those missions, the vision, the goals, and everybody is in aligned, it can help with conflict management. It can help with getting a starting point of something. It can help you plan your events. It can help everything. And if you don't have that foundation, you're going to have problems down the line. You're going to have conflict problems. You're going to have employees, if you're a business, donor problems. You're going to have conflict if you don't have that foundation. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is join some sort of networking event. I have a soft place in my heart for BNI
Me too.
because, and especially if you're a nonprofit, because of the givers gain mentality that they have. Everybody is in there. Yes, they're all business owners, and everybody is there to they want to make money. But the focus is, how can I help somebody else build their business? How can I help somebody else? And in turn, you grow.
Yes.
So I highly encourage businesses or nonprofit organizations to join something like that, that is an intentional about getting your name out there. And
Quick fact about BNI. If you join as a nonprofit leader, that nonprofit chair is free for the first year. So there's no excuse about cost. You just need to go and find a spot that you are going to grow through building relationships. And it's a game changer. Like you said.
Yeah, it really is. So that would be the second thing that I would say. And the third thing is, I touched on it earlier, is there are some things that you're gonna have to spend some money on,
Yes.
especially as a nonprofit, and really looking at the big picture. What is going to be the biggest, for lack of a better term, what's the biggest bang for your buck?
Yes.
And there's some things that are so important to spend the money on, to do them right. Things like your website.
Yes.
Super important. Please don't go and try to do it on whatever, do it yourself. Yeah, all the things.
Yeah, all of the things.
And especially if you're a business, but nonprofit as well, you don't want to chintz there. Get somebody that knows what they're doing and do it right. Social media, don't chintz on that. You're going to need to pay for social media ads.
Yes.
You cannot grow a business or nonprofit on the organic growth. It doesn't work anymore.
Just doesn't.
It doesn't work.
No.
You're gonna have to spend money there. You're gonna have to spend money on your logo design. Make sure it's done right.
Yes.
So those are the areas that, when you're starting out, spend the money on them.
Yes.
Put it and spend the money to do it right. And that's
Put
gonna
a
give you
budget around it.
and
Because you need these things.
especially if you're a nonprofit, have it as a sponsorship item. Every
Yes.
year, we know that we need to spend XYZ on the website. Okay, here's a sponsorship item. Would XYZ
Pay for
corporate
it.
fund it,
Absolutely.
and it's earmarked for that thing. And people know, one, everybody knows how much it costs to run the thing,
Yes. Yeah.
But also, you don't
And
have
they
to.
know what you're doing with their money. 'Cause you've already
Exactly.
told them.
Exactly. And also, you don't want people to, when people give to the general fund and all the needs, that's great. You, as the nonprofit, know that it's going to the right place. But sometimes, if you don't earmark it for those certain things, then it's really easy to start not having the money to do those things.
Yeah.
So those would be my biggest what not suggestions. I guess suggestions. Whatever.
Pieces of advice.
Advice.
Yes.
That other word. Pieces of advice that I would give to any
Yeah.
nonprofit, and even business owner, is have that foundation.
Jen, this has been a great conversation. Thanks for sitting on this
Of
couch
course.
with me and
Yes.
talking about what it is you do and how you help nonprofits. Nonprofits, please check her out when you get a chance. She is also going to be the sponsor of our next networking event for nonprofits. Sunday Social will be held in this very space, July 28th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So thank you for being as a sponsor and a supporter of the nonprofit community. How can we find you online?
JAGS Graphics, that's www.jagsgraphics.com, or you can do JAGS Graphics on Instagram, Facebook. Those are the best places to find me. And or you can shoot me an email, sales@jagsgraphics.com.
Yeah,
That
some
goes
people
straight to
still
me.
do that.
Some people still do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay. We still love them.
Yes. Thanks for your
Yes.
time today.
Uh-huh.
Bye, everyone.